East Alabama tonight, where people with confirmed cases of the coronavirus are expected to be quarantined. WVTM 13's Chip Scarborough reports from Anniston, where there is growing concern.
City and county leaders here in Anniston say they were totally caught off guard by this announcement from the federal government that quarantined coronavirus patients are going to be brought here to Anniston. Those leaders say they're now exploring what legal options they have to try and stop this from happening. Those passengers who were aboard the Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan and tested positive for coronavirus will be transported to the FEMA Center here in Anniston. This is part of a partnership between FEMA and the Department of Health and Human Services. DHS says some of the people have mild flu-like symptoms while others don't have any symptoms at all. Any of the patients who become seriously ill while at the FEMA Center for Domestic Preparedness will be transported to various hospitals for care.
This was solely agreed upon and determined by two federal agencies. We were not consulted in any fashion.
And DHS says any of the coronavirus patients staying here in Anniston will be kept away from anyone else at the FEMA Center. It's not clear yet how many people will be brought here or when they'll arrive. In Anniston and Calhoun County, Chip Scarborough, WVTM 13.
Well, they didn't have a whole lot to say, but they're policymakers and they have a plan. They weren't here to ask permission. They were pretty much here just to say this is what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And we had a lot of questions as far as the logistics and the medical and our hospitals here and our transportation and EMS, and there's just a lot of questions. And the facility being out here at the CDP is a training facility. It's not a quarantine facility, which a lot of these places where these Air Force bases where they're being housed, they have places to quarantine people. So Congressman Rogers made it very clear that we're just not equipped for this. And our action today was to try to file an injunction in federal court to at least put the brakes on it, to allow us time to get fully prepared. Our EMS people here in the county don't have the proper equipment. They don't have the suits, the ventilators, the masks, all this kind of stuff that they have there, but we don't as a community have it.
And is this a concern for bringing patients in the future that have the
coronavirus?
Sure.
Well, I mean, we're going to continue on. Like Michael said, we've been pushing information out for 3 weeks, so not anticipating this, just in general for the community, because people need to know. It's kind of like the flu. So we're going to continue our program and try to get as many resources in as we can, and we're going to be prepared. And hopefully this situation is not going to come up for Calhoun County, but maybe we can help another community, or we can have the resources to be better prepared in the future.
To address rumors, though, there are no coronavirus patients here right now.
Well, they told us there are not anyone here. There are DMAT teams that have been out there in preparation of these people arriving, setting up equipment, setting up Wi-Fi. I mean, they're kind of weeks ahead of the actual process. So, comments? Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question.
Come on in.
My name is David Baker. I'm environmentalist in Anderson, Alabama. And the question is about the coronavirus that they are bringing. And, it's a very serious disease, sickness. It is. No ifs, buts about it. When you at the hospital, at regional, or even at Scranville, the air doesn't go out. It's circulating. That's why tuberculosis became back into this city, where I was in the hospital where people was contracting tuberculosis at one time when it was already exempt from us for a long time. Now this coronavirus is airborne. Anything that's airborne cannot be stopped in air. We got to breathe it. I went to the doctor the other day, and I had bronchitis. Was in the hospital for 4 days. Got out, and I haven't been able to go back to work since. I went to the health clinic the other week, and a dog hat on a mask. People are getting the flu. We got respiratory problems here already. I think the federal government might be overstepping. I'm not saying that these people should not be taken care of. My concern is people of Anderson, Alabama should be considered and be taken care of.
Thank you.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we told them in our meeting today. So our hospital's is overrun now. They can't handle the people that go up there with the flu, so it puts people in a bad situation, and that's why we communicated with them today. And I think word has gotten to all the way to President Trump and Secretary Azar, and they have assured us that they will not be transported here. This is a training facility, not a quarantine facility. These people have to be quarantined, separated for so many days, and just getting into a situation where once you get one, it could go on. They don't really have any idea how long this can go on. So the fact that they're telling us, the people that are in charge in Washington, that they have stopped this and they're not going to do it, we're going to hold them to their word.
Amen. Patients have been moved here.
Well, breaking news tonight, the plan to send coronavirus patients to Alabama is canceled. President Trump stepping in just hours ago saying they'll find a place other than the FEMA facility in Anniston to send the quarantined people aboard a cruise ship. The news breaking during an Anniston council meeting as the city prepared for the patients.
It has been stopped. They won't be transported out.
After hours of Alabamians thinking coronavirus patients were on their way to a facility in Anniston, that plan is off.
We discussed with them that the CDP is a training facility. It's not a quarantine facility.
The confusion,
we only found out about this at 12 o'clock yesterday,
causing some Anniston residents to even think people with the virus had already arrived.
Most people already believe these people are here. There's a gentleman down at the bottom of Henry Farm on the bypass in a hazmat suit saying the virus is here.
Governor Kay Ivey tweeting, President Trump called to assure me that this plan will not move forward. I thanked him for his support of Alabama. We always want to help our fellow Americans, but this wasn't fully vetted. Thank you, Senator Richard Shelby and Representative Mike Rogers, for advocating on our behalf. That news breaking during the Anniston Council meeting.
That plan has been stopped.
As the governor went on to say in a statement, the Anniston site will be a backup for coronavirus patients. So the reason for the confusion, Governor Ivey says, came from a press release from Health and Human Services that she says was either inadvertently or prematurely sent out. Well, in this country, there are currently 35 confirmed cases of novel coronavirus. 19 of those are people who are back from that Japanese cruise ship. At this point, no cases have been confirmed in Alabama. Globally, close to 80,000 people have been sickened by the virus, and just under 2,500 have died.